What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to J. Cool.
So the president has been misled. Today in News Diggers, the leading tabloid, the IG says it's not automatic for you to be granted police bond when arrested. Yet the president said arrested 10 hours, granted bond at 14 hours. Mr. Speaker, I thank you most sincerely for permitting the voice of Lumezi to speak to this important presidential address. And Mr. Speaker, through you, permit me to congratulate Honorable Ngowani for having been nominated or appointed as Deputy Government Whip. I was not available when it happened. It's only right that I should do that which is correct. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll speak to a few issues that the head of state raised. Mr. Speaker, national values and principles are important in molding the character of our nation. That is on page 1 of the president's speech. Ordinarily, I agree with what the president says, Mr. Speaker. The problem the voice of Lumezi has is that the implementation. Mr. Speaker, sometimes we tend to wonder whether the troops that the president has have undermined him or not. The president says we have declared the drought situation as national disaster. The person he has appointed as Minister of Information goes on camera to say this country is food secure. Should the Zambian people believe what the minister is saying or believe what the president is saying? There is too much of zigzagging, Mr. Speaker. For whatever reasons, I would rather believe what the president says, but the troops that he has at his disposal are doing him a disservice. Mr. Speaker, if you go on page 4, the president says the advantages of social media and the disadvantages. On one hand, we are being told that there is a proposal that for those that do podcasts should go through IBA to be granted a license without being given the conditions of how many viewership you have for you to qualify for that license. Is it one way of closing our opinions or our views down? It's blank. Mr. Speaker, on page 6, the president says our call to our local companies to trade among themselves in order to grow our national balance sheet. In one hand, you are saying you want to grow the balance sheet. In one hand, you are saying you are auditing all contractors in this country. All those contractors that did business in the last 10 years or probably 15 years are potential suspects of criminals. How does this equate to our national values? Mr. Speaker, if you go on page 9, for me that's the elephant in the room. The president says we are committed to deepening our democracy and constitutionalism as the surest way to strengthen our democracy, which way our people can be assured for their freedoms and the right to participate in decision making. This is the elephant in the room, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know the rules that we found at Parliament do not permit us to debate ourselves. Mr. Speaker, if indeed this is true, we are not going to have leader of opposition that has no following from your left side of the House. If indeed it is true,
Order,
I'm speaking to facts, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member, that was not part of the presidential speech.
No, it is.
listen, honorable member. Don't involve yourself in issues of a particular political party that you are not member to. And how they elect themselves, it's not your business. So let's just stick to the presidential speech. Because you are not the one to judge who is who. You are an independent member of parliament. Their political party has got rules and regulations. You can't challenge how they are sent to power. So let's just concentrate to the presidential speech.
Mr. Speaker, graciously I take your guidance, and graciously I must indicate that this says democracy and constitutionalism. I was merely putting my thoughts to this subject matter, knowing very well that it was equally wrong for them to sponsor a member of parliament that came to parliament with a difference of 44 votes. Mr. Speaker, I won with 22,000 votes. 22,000 votes cannot match 44.
Honorable member, I've guided you. I've guided you.
Honorable Speaker,
Yes,
I'm just giving
So if I've given my guidance, don't contravene. Stick to it, then you will continue debating.
So when the president spoke to democracy and constitutionalism, the president should have been well guided by the authors of the speech that even here at Parliament, where you are preaching democracy, there is undemocratic tendencies taking place. Speaking to these undemocratic tendencies does not make me a UPND member of Parliament. Neither does it make me a PF member of Parliament. It makes me an independent member of Parliament, like one member of Parliament from Luangeni who defeated the closest opponent with 22,000 votes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member, may you take your seat. Luangeni is not part of the presidential speech. I don't know why you are bringing it into your context of argument. I think just concentrate on the presidential speech. It will help you. And Zambians will appreciate you more if you debate the presidential speech.
Mr. Speaker, 8 minutes is not sufficient. You blocked point of orders. Now you are getting into my time. Mr. Speaker, the president talked of patriotism and national unity. Honestly, Mr. Speaker, your own members, some of us are victims when you talk of patriotism that have written letters of complaint to your office, and we've never received feedback. But we are the first people to be penalized.
How is that? Is that part of the presidential speech?
Yes. National unity.
No. Honorable member, you know, may you take your seat? You know, earlier I guided Honorable Fuwe. He didn't idea. That's why I curtailed him. And I shouldn't be repeating what I did. Let's just stick to the presidential speech. It will help. You may continue, Honorable Member.
Anyway, Mr. Speaker, the president spoke of having witnessed two events, Youth Day and Women's Day, and they were peaceful. Mr. Speaker, the record will show that Chongwe and Chipata witnessed serious violence. Mr. Speaker, when we speak as the people's representative, is not to ridicule the executive, is to give them what is coming out of the masses. They should learn something. So there was violence, in case they don't know. Like the president here was talking of buy Z, buy local. Yet this document, Mr. Speaker, is not printed by government printers. So the president has been misled. Today in News Diggers, the leading tabloid, the IG says it's not automatic for you to be granted police bond when arrested. Yet the president said arrested 10 hours, granted bond at 14 hours. So who do you want us to listen to? Maybe the president is being mismanaged. Mr. Speaker, for your own information, if the president called me to help him, I'll help him. because I've realized that the man means well, but his circle is misleading him. There is no way the president will read a speech printed by a firm that is not local. A speech here. This company is printed here. Shorton Printers Limited. So why should we mislead the president? If the president means well, can we help him? If the team that he has assembled is not helping him, the law allows him to pick from here, and the cream is here, we shall help the president, Mr. Speaker. Maybe you are the best man to deliver this debate, Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
Is that a good way of lobbying a job for a job?
Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, J Cool, and turn on the notification bell, cause I'm gonna see you in the next video.